Well, hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another Listen to the Missus podcast, coming to you from the studios of the Crystal Award-winning WSGW Radio in Saginaw, Michigan. I'm Art Lewis.
I'm Ann Williams.
Thanks for being with us today. As we record this, we're suffering through a pretty heavy wind and rainstorm outside, and it's got a lot of power outages going on and things of that nature. But we are here.
So we hope we don't get interrupted while we're doing this.
That's a good point. Yeah, I hope you're right. I got a number of things to talk about today. I want to talk about dining out after COVID-19 and an accidental distillery sell, which I'll tell you about. Aldi's expanding curbside. Pringles and Wendy's have partnered. And how about rising menu prices at these restaurants when they open? That's what I have. What do you have?
Well, I have Cracker Barrel starting to serve alcohol at some of its locations.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I have a method for turning carrots into bacon.
Huh?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that.
There's a new flavor of Pepsi. I won't tell you. I'll tell you when we talk about it. And not a new candy, an old candy that has disappeared from shelves is coming back.
Oh.
And a recipe, of course.
Oh, of course. All right. Well, let me begin with, because now we're in the throes of, after COVID-19, seeing states begin to loosen the reins and reopen. And one of the things that's happening in at least 43 states is restaurants beginning to reopen again beyond just takeout. Mm-hmm. And so the question begs, is it safe and what to expect at restaurants? So I think you have to understand if you're going out to eat, there is always going to be the risk. Mm-hmm. You're going out into public. Mm-hmm. So that's a given. Not as great as it would be in a crowd or anything because they have policies that they now have to follow. So looking at that, on-site dining rooms, these are questions people asked and we have the answers for from the CDC. Mm-hmm. Will on-site dining rooms be open? While drive-through takeout and delivery are still the lowest risk ways to get your food, dining rooms will begin to reopen in the area. You would check in your area, like where we are. We know restaurants are beginning to reopen now. Mm-hmm. In some areas of the country, yes. Some areas, no. So check your local directories for restaurants and see who's opening and who is not opening. Indoor dining versus outdoor dining, is it as safe? As we sit here right now, outdoor dining is believed to be a lower risk dining experience because it dissipates in the air. Mm-hmm. That belief, though, is likely because dining outside allows for a steadier air flow. That said, it's important to emphasize that outdoor seating should still follow social distancing. Mm-hmm. So that's the answer to that one. What will dining rooms look like? Yeah. Well, I've seen a couple. I've taken some takeout and gone in and gone out. Mm-hmm. Half the tables, one restaurant in our area was very clever. Instead of just taping off their booths, they took out the seats of every other booth. Oh. So you can't use it. Okay. Another restaurant I was in put a tape across and a big X on the tabletop, big blue X, which means you can't use that table. Oh. And they had half the tables and chairs that they would normally have. Right.
Well, here in Michigan, they're only allowed to have 50% capacity right now.
And some are going a little bit less. Yeah. The one I was in with the booths out was at 40% capacity. Mm-hmm. The other one was 50. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the operatives will tell you bare bones because you're not going to make a lot of money with it that way. Right. Employee policies. First and foremost, workers who feel ill have been told to stay home. Anyone obviously testing positive, stay home. And for those who clock in, there'll be renewed hygiene and safety guidelines, frequent hand washing required, face cloth coverings, and they will be continually cleaning tables and contact surfaces. After one party leaves, they'll be right there, and I watched that happen the other day. So in terms of going out to eat, yeah, you can do it. Yeah. But it's not going to be like you remember it for a while anyway. Yeah. There will be less tables, fewer servers maybe, and prices. We'll get to the prices. We'll talk about prices.
They're impacted too.
You do something and I'll come back to the prices. I don't want to be the bad news bearer all the time here.
Yeah. Well, Cracker Barrel's making some changes too, as all restaurant chains are, and individual private restaurants too, because this is a big revolution for the industry. But one thing that Cracker Barrel is doing, besides all the usual stuff that everybody else is, they're kind of apparently streamlining their menu, but they're adding something. For the first time in its 51-year history, Cracker Barrel is serving alcohol in some of its restaurants. Yeah. 20 locations in Florida are testing the new booze menu. It includes a selection of beer and wine, a hard cider, and an orange and strawberry mimosa. And
so not a general mixed drink menu.
So not a general menu. You can't just order anything.
Right.
And they said that they were surprised at how popular the mimosas were. And a representative said the results of the test so far have been overwhelmingly positive, and they've decided to expand it into Tennessee and Kentucky. So it's making its way north. And they haven't determined the timing for when the next states or markets that they'll try it in, but you might expect to see that going forward in your local Cracker Barrel.
Progress being made. Huh? All right, I want to get back to the restaurants. I started out by telling you some of the policies. Now let's talk about prices. We all know if you go in the grocery store right now, prices are on the rise. Meat, particularly, if you can get it, is very expensive.
A lot of empty spaces in the meat sections.
Yep. And guess what? No different for restaurants.
Right.
I've talked to a restaurateur who put in his order. First, his prices were probably, he said, 15 to 20% higher across the board and only got 60% of his order.
Wow.
So, restaurants have to figure out what to do. I think what you're going to see, first of all, some restaurants have tried a COVID-19 surcharge. That didn't go over too well with customers. I think you're going to see some incremental price hikes until the food chain gets back to normal. Most restaurants, if they have to go more than 30 days with food cost price hikes and things of that nature, they got to start making some hard decisions. And I think what you're going to see is items drop off of menus.
Yeah.
Some restaurants have already dropped things like brisket and things of that nature that are really getting out of sight price-wise. There's one restaurateur who normally uses 80-20 hamburger, had to go to an 81-19, and he said there is a difference, believe it or not, in how it forms. And he had to do that even though even that was more expensive than what he was paying for 80-20. It was far under what the 80-20 would have cost him.
Wow.
And so these are things restaurant owners have to decide, besides having fewer customers because the layout has to be cut down to 50%. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a while before we see anything.
That industry has been hit so hard.
Oh, absolutely. So it's going to be a while before we see things back to normal, whatever that's going to be.
It's going to be a while.
All right.
Well, I have something on a bit lighter note here. TikTok is a new social media platform that's getting more and more popular, and it consists of like short videos and a lot of food-related stuff on there that you'll find. One thing that has been seen recently and apparently has gone viral was a woman who made what she called, quote-unquote, bacon out of carrots.
Bacon out of carrots. I can't wait to hear this.
So this is what she did. She took peeled the carrots into thin strips and then mixed up a marinade that consisted of liquid smoke, maple syrup, garlic powder, smoked paprika, and onion powder. So this is the marinade. She put the carrot strips in there, mixed them up, and let them soak for a few minutes. And then she took the carrots and put them in her air fryer. Cooked them for 5 minutes at 380 degrees. And apparently they came out crunchy and tasting, kind of bacon-like.
Very clever.
And then she did another one where she demonstrated what she did with these bacon strips, quote-unquote bacon strips.
Don't tell me she made them with eggs.
No, she made a BLT wrap.
Oh, no kidding.
She used roasted sun-dried tomatoes, put mayonnaise on there, some microgreens, dill pickles, red onions, and tomatoes.
Wow.
And made herself a wrap out of it.
That is clever.
If you're a vegetarian or you don't want to cut down on your meat, I guess you could try that. I don't know.
Why not? Here's one of those stories you knew you were going to hear one like this eventually. You know that distilleries around the country were asked to convert and make hand sanitizer when there was a big shortage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one distillery, a gin distillery, did that. Only problem was, somehow in recent days, they went back to production of gin and sold, this was the Apollo Bay Distillery in Victoria, which would be in Canada. They went back to producing the gin and sold 9 bottles of gin,
Oh my goodness!
which unfortunately were hand sanitizer. Can you imagine
Wow.
getting home, opening your bottle of gin?
Yeah, the consistency would be off. First of all,
Yeah, and so with
I
the
think that would
taste,
be the
for
first
sure.
clue. Yeah.
But yeah, they had to recall a whole bunch because they didn't know which 9 bottles.
Yeah,
So, but they said they knew they were 9 bottles that were hand
That's
sanitizer.
funny. That's
Good
funny.
luck.
Well, there's a new flavor of Pepsi on the market. Can be found apparently at Walmart. It is pineapple flavored Pepsi.
Really?
It's
Ooh.
Pepsi with a
I might try
splash
that.
with a splash of pineapple. And it was first released in Japan back in 2019, and it was very successful. So they brought it to the U.S., and it is one of the number of flavors that Pepsi's been releasing lately. They have some other fruit flavors. Also, they have lime, berry, and mango already, but they've added this pineapple flavor.
Ooh, mango. I haven't tried that.
Yeah, so you can apparently find
All
these
right.
at Walmart.
Sounds good. One of the things we've heard during the COVID crisis are stores doing curbside pickup.
Right.
And it's become now a trend. I mean, and it's going to stay. It's not going to go away because they were actually starting it before COVID-19 in many places. Aldi is expanding curbside pickup to more than 600 of its stores nationwide. Pickup service to offer even more location options. And the program will be out and available in those nearly 600 Aldi stores by the end of July. I have to find out if it affects the ones around here or not where we are in Michigan, but you can check with your local Aldi to see if they're going to have that kind of curbside service for you. And it's been very, very popular at the major chains, so I imagine it'll be good at Aldi's too.
Yeah, it's becoming popular all over without COVID-19, like you said. But I have another new product here. Well, not a new product, an old product, actually, that's being re-released. Do you remember Nico wafers?
Oh, yeah.
The little thin candy wafers?
I used to call them Necco. Are they Nico? I don't
don't know. Whatever they
Yeah.
are. Necco,
Well,
Nico.
They
I say
make,
Nico, you say Necco.
They make the multicolor ones,
Yes.
but they also make all chocolate ones.
Oh, do they?
Those are my favorites.
Well, apparently these went off the market in 2018. I didn't realize it. They quit selling them. But they're bringing them back. And Spangler Candy that makes them says that they date all the way back to 1847, these candies. But they're bringing them back, and they come in 8 flavors: lemon, lime, orange, clove, which is a light purple color, cinnamon, which is white, wintergreen, that's pink, licorice is dark gray, and the chocolate brown color that you mentioned.
Right.
And all of the returned flavors were designed to identically match their original iterations. However, they say the chocolate ones feature a revamped, richer cocoa taste from a minor improvement made in the cooking process.
Well,
so the
can't
chocolate
wait.
will be chocolatey.
I wonder if they'll continue to package chocolate separately like they did before.
I don't know.
You can find them in specialty candy shops. You know, some places that carry all the little odd stuff. They still have them in many places like that. Another new product, old names though, Pringles and Wendy's.
Oh, yeah?
They've partnered to create a new Baconator chip.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's going to be a chip, and guess what it's going to taste like? Applewood smoked bacon, ketchup, and mayo. So there you are.
Probably. I bet it's good.
Probably is. Probably is. So you have a recipe for us?
I have a recipe from one of our cookbooks, Mocha Rocky Road Cookies. If any of our listeners to our radio show, I was trying to see which cookbook this is. But anyway, this is Mocha Rocky Road Cookies. It is 2 sticks of butter, softened, a half cup of granulated sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, a tablespoon of hot water, a teaspoon of baking soda, 2.5 cups of quick oats, 1.5 cups of toasted walnuts, a half cup of firmly packed brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of instant coffee granules, 1 3/4 of a cup of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 1½ cups of chocolate chips, and 1½ cups of mini marshmallows. In a large bowl, you beat the butter and sugars till creamy, which you usually do when you're making cookies like this. You add the eggs, the vanilla, beat well. Then you want to take that coffee and dissolve it in hot water. Add to the butter mixture and mix well. Then your dry ingredients, your flour, baking soda, salt, add all that. Then your oats, your chocolate chips, and walnuts. These you want to says shape into a heaping tablespoon in the palm of your hand. So about a tablespoon of dough for each cookie. You want to arrange 4 marshmallows in the center. Wrap the dough around the marshmallows to cover them. And then you repeat that with the remaining dough and marshmallows. So you're going to have kind of a gooey marshmallowy center. You bake these at 350 on a greased cookie sheet or with parchment or whatever, 10 to 12 minutes, and this makes 3 dozen cookies.
And they're called?
Mocha Rocky Road Cookies.
Wow, sounds great. Well, that'll do it for this podcast of Listen to the Missus. You can always contact us. Tell them how they can do that.
You can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Just look for Listen to the Missus. Also, our website, WSGW.com, has a Listen to the Missus page where you can find us. And you can send us an email and WSGW.com for me.
Art Lewis, ARTLEWIS, at WSGW.com for me.
And by the way, that recipe was from cookbook number 5, if anybody out there has it.
Cool. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Listen to the Missus, our podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye for now, I should say.